What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really does help out our channel. Now don't forget, we still have the Christmas competition going on over in our Discord. Again, link is down in the description. Come get involved, prizes to be won at the end of the month and all that good stuff. You don't have to be an amazing artist to be involved, it's just getting that Christmassy vibe going. Once again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here, and let's just crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now our first story comes from Kip Trello. Am I the arsehole for locking my roommate's girlfriend out of my room and bathroom? I, 21 male, share an apartment with another guy, John, 22 male. John started bringing his girlfriend Macy around a couple of months ago, which I didn't have a problem with. She'd just stay a couple of nights a week. Problems started happening over a month ago. Macy came to my room once and asked if she could use my bathroom. Apartment has a bathroom in each individual room, because John's is a fucking mess. I've been in there before and I agree. He never cleans it, tub is stained and full of hairs, streaks of piss on the toilet seat, smells like shit, and looks as bad as a men's restroom at a public park. Kinda wish I never let her. After that, whenever she was there, she'd asked if she could use my bathroom, or straight up go when I'm not there. How did I know? I started noticing toilet paper balled up in my trash bin. My ex used to do this too when she would change her tampon, so I knew right away. Then she would literally use my shower when I'm not there, because I also started seeing those long ass hairs stuck on the shower tile. Not only that, I work night shifts, so until late afternoon I'm sleeping in my room. She would wake me up to ask if she could use the bathroom. After I started saying no, she started sneaking in. I'm a heavy sleeper, but a couple of times I did catch her and she apologised, but it's because she can't stand using John's bathroom. I tell her to tell him to clean it and problem solved, but she says he promises he will, then never does. I'm already irritated with this and don't want to continue going in my bathroom, so I went and got a lock for my room. Few days ago, John was pissed with me. Turns out while I was sleeping, she kept knocking on my door, trying to go in, but the lock kept her out. Anyway, she needed to pee really bad and John was already using the bathroom and had the runs. So yeah, I guess she was banging on my door, but I couldn't hear because I was knocked out and also had my headphones on. She ended up having a small accident because she couldn't hold it any longer. Because of that, she got mad at John, so now he's mad at me. I told him why I got the lock and I don't want his girl coming into my room whenever she wants to use the bathroom. It's weird and she leaves her own mess too. Still thinks I was a dick for getting a lock in the first place and doesn't think it's such a big deal for her to use the bathroom because it's not like she snoops in my room. I mean, I don't know, sometimes I'm not there. Also dramatic according to him to go through all that trouble. Macy has given me the side eye whenever she's there now and says I didn't have to be like that with her. So yeah, I didn't mean for her to have an accident. Don't think I'm overdoing it by getting a lock when I kind of feel I didn't have any other option. I wasn't the arsehole here though, was I? Because they sure as hell are acting like I am. She's invading your personal space. I mean, you was kind enough to let her do it the first time. I'm not sure if I would have let her do it the first time because you know they're going to take liberties after. If John wasn't cleaning his bathroom up to that point, why is he going to suddenly do it now? Now you're letting his girlfriend come into your bathroom. He has no need to. And you know, the way that he was describing the bathroom in this story, I could almost smell it. And, you know, if they got that much of a problem with it, just clean their fucking bathroom. It's that simple, really, isn't it? So not the arsehole whatsoever in this situation. I don't blame you for what you did. But Daylight617 says, not the arsehole, seriously. Is your friend a goblin? Why can't he clean a tiny ass bathroom? Fucking child. You have a right to privacy. The girlfriend walking in your private area without permission is fucked. If you don't want her in your bathroom, then she shouldn't enter, ever, unless it's an emergency, of course. And Saucy Noodle Lover says, and quotes, Macy is giving the side eye and says that I didn't have to be like that with her. You absolutely had to be like that with her. She was going into your bathroom when you weren't around and sneaking in while you were asleep. What a huge breach of privacy. Also, you agreed she could use the bathroom the time she asked for permission. You didn't give her a blanket permission to use the bathroom whenever. Not to mention, she wasn't cleaning up after herself. She was expecting you to clean up after her. Also, she should dump your roommate if he's so disgusting that he can't share a bathroom with him. I'm surprised she trusts the cleanliness of his junk. Their issues aren't because you are now enforcing what you should be an obvious boundary. Their issues stem from your roommate being a huge slob. not the arsehole. And Kerry May says, not the arsehole. I feel sorry for the girl having an accident, but seriously, how did she get in that situation? I've held my pee for hours before, and I've never known the case of the runs to be so constant that he couldn't give for a few minutes to use the toilet. So it sounds to me that she was a bit silly for waiting to be that desperate before trying to access the toilet, and John was being a bit of a dick, hogging the bathroom. Rather than arguing with each other, they're projecting their anger at you, which is just ridiculous. You have every right to put a lock on your door and have privacy. Honestly, I think you've had the patience of a saint to put up with your roommate's girlfriend waking you up, sneaking into your bathroom, going into your room and bathroom while you're not there, and leaving a mess behind her. You could have kicked off over any one of those issues, and rightfully so. It sounds to me like putting a lock on your door and stopping these shenanigans is forcing them to confront the real issue. John, I am willing to bet that if she is so disgusted at his bathroom and she can't use yours anymore, that it's forced them to confront the fact that John is disgusting and immature and quite frankly needs to sort himself out. He's probably not happy about having to be a grown up and clean for his girlfriend to keep coming round and for him to get laid. She's probably unhappy about having to confront the issue and realistically stop coming round or break up with him if he won't do it. But in the long run, this is doing them both a favour because he needs to grow up. Now, what would you do in that situation? Would you have any sympathy for the girl and let her continue using your bathroom because John is a slob, or was OP totally in the right here to make them confront their own issues? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Abominable Bedpan. Am I the arsehole for asking my girlfriend to lie to my parents for the rest of her life? My girlfriend and I have been together for a few years now and are starting to have some conversations about marriage and long-term future together. Her one big apprehension to making a commitment is that she never wants to lie about the relationship she's in because of past experiences with exes who want to sneak around with her. The trouble is that my parents are very religious and have unrelenting views on things like alcohol consumption, premarital sex, premarital cohabitation, and other things of that nature. My girlfriend and I haven't lived particularly promiscuous or drug-heavy lives, but we do enjoy the occasional drink and have slept with each other and previous partners. Although my parents are genuinely decent people in most respects, I am almost positive that they would cut contact and end our relationship if they found out about those activities. I've talked about the issues with them in the abstract before. They know that I don't think those things are necessarily bad, but I've come to accept that they will never change their minds. To me, keeping these details a secret is no big deal. My parents, or anyone's for that matter, don't need to know about their adult's child's sex life. Neither my girlfriend nor I are heavy drinkers or involved in the alcohol industry, so hiding a booze cabinet when they come over isn't really hiding our identities or pretending to be people that we are not. It may be an inconvenience, but to me it's well not worth in losing my family completely. But my girlfriend sees doing this as me making her hide who she is as a person. She doesn't want to feel like she has to filter herself in front of my parents and lie to them if they ask about her past, or about things we've done together. Going on vacation and staying in the same hotel, for example. She says lying to my parents is letting them control our lives, and that's inappropriate for me to ask her to conform to their draconian expectations. Am I the arsehole, or is my ask reasonable given the circumstances? If it means that you can't have a premarital relationship or cohabitate and that sort of stuff before you're actually married, and your parents would actually cut contact with you over this matter, then do you really want them in your lives that badly? And I think your girlfriend is right in this situation. Why should she hide herself for your parents? If your parents can't accept you or your girlfriend for who you are, then that's their problem. Let them cut contact. I think this is a big their issue, nothing to do with you, and you need to just, suck it up basically and let your girlfriend be who she wants to be and not tell her to hide herself. So you are the arsehole in that respect, but your parents are even bigger arseholes in my opinion. But Mary Berry Yum says, you're the arsehole. It's bad enough that you can't act like an adult around your own parents, but you're asking her to be a teenager too. What are you going to do when you have kids of your own? Teach them to lie too? I don't think you thought this through properly. BeckDog19 says, and quotes, although my parents are genuinely decent people in most respects, I am almost positive that they would cut contact and end our relationship if they found out about those activities. And then says, these two statements are not compatible. If your parents would cut contact over something so minor, they're not good or decent people. You're the arsehole for thinking this is even slightly possible or reasonable. And Ashes B77 says, you're the arsehole and it wouldn't work anyway. One slip 5 years down the road telling the story and it's out anyway. And Not Really Me says, you're the arsehole. If your parents' religion demands they cut contact with you over a premarital relationship, their religion is toxic. My family was part of a religion like that growing up. It's not worth living your life according to beliefs you don't share. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you think OP should do in this situation? Do you think it's worth hiding themselves and their girlfriend, hiding who they are? Or do you think that they should just go, no, we're going to be who we want to be, and then you can make a decision from there? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from Foul Smell 45. Am I the arsehole for telling my husband that just because his son is deaf, that he doesn't need to be treated special? I, 38 female, have a 14 female daughter from a previous marriage that ended shortly after she was born. My ex-husband and I are still on good terms though, and split 50-50 custody. My current husband, 36 male, is deaf and has 3 sons, 10 male, 8 male and 5 male, which he got full custody of after his wife passed away. His youngest son is also completely deaf. We've been married for 1 year and have dated for 2. My husband is a wonderful father and treats my daughter and his sons amazingly. However, I've noticed several times that my husband treats his son special and often excuses it with his disability. He doesn't let his son outside alone, or if we're at a store, won't let him wander off at all. If all of the kids are playing with the neighbours, then my husband hovers in a way that he doesn't if just the older kids are playing. Several times I've brought this up, but my husband just tells me that he doesn't want his son to get hurt, and even though he's perfectly safe. The tipping point came when I said that being deaf doesn't mean he gets treated different, and my husband got this weird look on his face and just walked away after that. I was talking to my mum on the phone yesterday and I brought up the argument. She said that I really didn't have much of a say because I had little experience with deaf people and that for all I know he could be doing the right thing. But I'm torn because I feel like he's coddling his son. Am I the arsehole? So let me just get this right. We're talking about the 5-year-old here. A 5-year-old? And you're talking about this 5-year-old playing outside and this 5-year-old wandering off in a store by himself, being deaf too. He's 5 years fucking old, man. Are you kidding me? And I will totally disagree with anyone who says it's totally normal for a 5-year-old to wander off in a store by themselves, even if they can hear well. But I think it's even worse if the child is deaf. I mean, they can't hear you when you're calling out for one, so if they can easily get lost. So in no way, shape or form do I think this father is coddling their son. I think they're just looking after him just like any normal parent with a 5-year-old. Wow, yes, you're the arsehole in this situation. In my opinion, of course. But Fabulous Saute says you're the arsehole. First of all, he's 5. He shouldn't be outside alone or wandering off by himself in the store. He's not 8, he's not 10. He's too young to expect that he'd do the same things as someone twice his age. And second, being deaf will impact how he can do things alone. If he's in a store, he might not hear when someone's behind him. If he gets lost, he won't hear you calling his name. There are ways he can learn to notice things instead of hearing him, but he has to learn. Those things will take time, and the best way for him to learn them is to see his deaf dad doing them. Nebula Solar says, you think it's weird to not let a 5-year-old child wander off alone at the store? Really? Dales Cooper's wife says, you're the arsehole for thinking a 5-year-old should wander around alone at a store, and a deaf child at that. Good grief, where's your common sense? Glittering Joke says, I have a 5-year-old and I don't let her go out alone or wander off in stores alone either. She's not deaf, she's 5. And Queen Mum says, you're the arsehole, your stepson isn't just deaf, he's also only 5 years old. He shouldn't be wandering in the store on his own or playing outside on his own. Beside the fact that he is too young and could easily get lost in a store or hurt outside by any number of things depending on where you live. He's also deaf and doesn't have the ability to hear dangers around him. I'm sure as he gets older, he will use his other senses or hearing aids or whatever resources he has to react and or interact with the world around him. However, even a hearing child might not understand that the toy that caught his eye is too far away from him to just wander off to look at it, or that barking dog isn't friendly, or the car engine is very close and might not see him in time if he runs in the street. These are all things that every child needs to learn, but at 5 still doesn't grasp well enough. Your host and is doing his job, protecting his child. Now, what do you guys think of this story? I'm glad it wasn't just me. I was expecting some comments to say, oh yeah, 5 is perfectly normal to be wandering around. I was like, what? It's a crazy world out there. But what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from Am I the Arsehole Dig? Am I the arsehole for not wanting to pay someone $500 to dig a big hole in my yard? I bought a house a few years back and every year I've had to have my sewer line snaked because it backs up. I've been quoted anywhere from 2k to 3,500 to have the line dug up and replaced. After the most recent backup, my dad, who works in the construction trade, told me he has a friend with the necessary equipment to dig up and replace the line, and he would do it for $650 plus materials. The confusing thing about this is I live on a corner, and nobody seems to know which direction my sewer line runs. I had one plumber come and use a camera and he marked an X outside my house that was supposed to be directly above where the camera was while it was in my line, indicating my sewer line makes a 90-degree turn as soon as it comes out of the side of my house then up towards the front. I don't know anything about any of this stuff, so I deferred to my dad and his friends who do this kind of work for a living. Today my dad's friend comes with a backhoe and dug where the previous plumber marked, and they found nothing. Clearly, instead of making a 90-degree turn, my line goes straight out the side, so I said, why don't you just dig here then? But then they said they didn't have the time and they would have to come back in the spring, since it'd be too cold to dig soon. They expected the completed job to take about 5 hours, but they were here for about half of that. When I asked him how much I owed, the guy said 525 and I was stunned. Basically 525 to dig and fill a hole for 2.5 hours, and then I'll have to pay another 650 if they come and do the actual work next year. My argument is that I was paying them to do a job and it didn't get done. I would have understood paying them a little bit more since they had to dig in 2 different spots, but to just leave because you were wrong the first time and still want 80% of the agreed labour cost seems outrageous to me. I got in a big argument with my dad about it and he said fuck it, I'll square it up with him then. And I just said sounds good and went inside. I feel like we both got ripped off. Am I the arsehole? I guess the question all comes down to is who told them to dig on that X, because that's the issue, is that they dug in this space and then they couldn't find anything, which is just not their fault, you know. They was told to dig in that hole, they dug that hole right there and then, and that's what you asked them to do. And you know, to set up for a job, it isn't just about being there and then and digging. They had to, I'm assuming, that to hire equipment and all this kind of stuff to actually perform the job anyway. So it's not just about that initial cost, right? And it almost sounded like these people were trying to do you a favour by doing it cheap in the long run anyway, which you gladly accepted at that time. So I think you need to face these consequences. I might be wrong in this one, but that's what I'm going with. That you're an arsehole in this situation. But Woolran says you're the arsehole. You're paying for the labour, not for the job. If the line isn't where you said it was, it isn't the fault of the guy who was digging. Also, for a small job like this one, is a part of the cost to get the equipment to the job and back home, and not the labour itself, so the price seems reasonable to me. Black Star Corona says everyone sucks here. You're paying for labour, not the job. If this were me working for a client, I wouldn't charge them almost the entire job's value, but I would expect to get some payment. And OP replies, that's a fair point. I certainly didn't expect them to do it for free, but 80% of the agreed price seems ridiculous to me. And Bite Me 75 says, you're the arsehole. It's not their fault they dug in the wrong place. It's the fault of the plumber who marked the wrong spot. They did the work and deserve to be paid. And Angelique T says, you're the arsehole. Don't contract people to do work before you're clear on their rate and complain about it. Chicago 8 says, you're the arsehole. It's expensive and time consuming to bring the equipment to your home. It's not just the 2.5 hours they were at your house, but the travel time there and back with heavy equipment and time for the crew. It's also time they might have spent on another job site, and it's not their fault you didn't know exactly where to dig. I understand it sucks for you that you don't know either, but it's clearly not the responsibility of the diggers to know where your sewer line is. You were paying for them to do a job in their eyes, and it did get done. You said dig here, and they did. Did you check with your township to see if they have records of where the sewer lines are located? Depending on the year your home was built, they might be able to help narrow it down. I'm sorry this happened to you. Unfortunately, home ownership can come with expensive surprises, but ultimately it's your responsibility and you need to pay the labourers for their time. Imagine yourself in their position. Someone says, bring your expensive equipment and dig here. So you do. You don't find what they wanted. You spent hours using your expertise to do the work. Now they don't want to pay you. How would you feel? And OP replies, I do work in the service industry and I wouldn't expect someone to pay me for a job I didn't finish, but I understand that every situation is different. Now, what would you do in this situation? Imagine if you was the workers and someone you turned up at their house and they said dig here, you dug, and then you didn't find the sewer line and then they refused to pay you because of that. How would you feel? And what do you think OP should do in this situation? Let me know in the comments below. Once again, guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you've been enjoying the stories just recently. That last one was a bit of a different one that I hadn't seen one like that before on that Am I the Arsehole subreddit. And I do enjoy a different one, but let me know what you guys think. As always, if you want to support the channel, we have the join button down below for YouTube membership, and we also have a link onto Patreon where you can join over there too. All options are open and they're totally optional. Never feel pressure to do so. We're in troubled times right now, so always look after yourself first, please. Absolutely. And with that being said, thank you for being here today, guys. It's really, really appreciated. The time out of your day is so important, and for you to dedicate it to this channel is amazing of you. And don't forget that. So thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.